From the heartland of America and the gateway to the West, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm George Norrie. This is Coast to Coast AM. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you have a great 2023. Emerging artists for the first couple hours tonight. Full information on who they are at coasttocoastam.com. And tonight, Psychic and Astrologers Night as they predict the future. And we'll take reading calls also. I'll tell you about that as we get close to each segment. Here's what's happening. New Year's celebrations swept across the globe, ushering in 2023 with countdowns and fireworks and marking an end to a year that brought war in Europe, a new chapter in the British monarchy, and global worries over inflation. The ball dropped on New York City's iconic Times Square as huge crowds counted down the seconds into 2023, culminating in cheers and a deluge of confetti glittering amid jumbo screams, neon pulsating lights, and soggy streets. And a man wielding a machete attacked 3 police officers near the celebration, striking 2 of them in the head before an officer shot the man in the shoulder about 8 blocks from Times Square, just outside of the high security zone. The 2 officers were hospitalized, one with a fractured skull, the other with a bad cut, but expected to recover. The 19-year-old suspect also expected to recover. Ukrainians cheered from their balconies while their air defenses blasted Russian missiles and drones out of the sky in the first hours of 2023, as Moscow saw in the new year by attacking civilian targets across Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force Command said it had destroyed 45 Iranian-made Shahad drones made by Iran, 32 of them on Sunday night after midnight, 13 late on Saturday. And Russia's war in Ukraine has proven almost every assumption wrong and has left Europe wondering what's left and safe to assume. Charles R. Smith, our expert on such matters. Charlie, what's 2023 look like for you with this Ukraine-Russian war?
Well, I think that it's pretty obvious that 2022 is the year of the drone. The Ukrainians and eventually the Russians have both adopted drone technology in various forms, from both small VTOL systems all the way up to fairly sophisticated drones, such as the Turkish drone, the Bayraktar, as well as the Iranian drones, the Shaheeds, which are being adopted by the Russians. This has changed the way that we think about combat. It has had major effects all the way through both the Pentagon as well as all the other major powers and major players on the battlefield. Literally, drone technology being the wave of the future has put a big scare into what would be both defense contractors as well as the brass, because they know that the difficulty of defending against such waves of very small, very lethal weapons is well beyond our capacity. Just for example, the U.S. Navy is considering what do they do against small drones that cost maybe $1,000 or $2,000 to put together, and the option of firing a $600,000 or $1 million missile to knock it down really isn't a good option, because you run out of defense missiles a lot faster than your opponent is going to run out of drones.
So the best guess for 2023, it continues?
It's going to get much more sophisticated. We are going to see drones, as we have seen in Ukraine, being adopted in more levels of combat and warfare. The Israelis, for example, have introduced variants of what are referred to as racing drones. If you've ever seen them in action, they are amazing. They travel extremely fast. They're not very large. They could fly through a window, through a doorway. They can fly through the halls in a house, and they can do it in an autonomous mode, meaning totally unmanned, totally by themselves, land, wait for somebody to approach it, and then explode. It is, in many ways, almost frighteningly scary
Yep.
from both the civilian as well as a military aspect, because now you have loitering, fast systems that can identify you and actually chase after you, and there's no person behind it. It is doing it by itself.
All right, Charles, my friend. Charles' book is called Deception. Thank you, Charles. Pope Benedict XVI, the German theologian who tried to reawaken Christianity in Europe but will forever be remembered as the first pontiff in 600 years to resign from the job, has died. He was 95 years old. Almost 1 in every 3 people in the world is a Christian, a religion that is far more prevalent than any other on the planet. As such, most people are familiar with what Christians believe, especially with regard to life after death. Christians believe that if an individual is born again, when he or she dies, he or she will enter an eternal rest called heaven, a place where there will never be any pain, crying, or mourning. Being born again is simply a confession of Jesus' lordship over one's life and a belief in Christ's crucifixion. But what does it mean about the afterlife? Let's check in with Sandra Champagne, who headlines the Paranormal Podcast Network with Shades of the Afterlife. First of all, Happy New Year, Sandra.
Happy New Year, George. May you have the best year ever.
You too. You too. And so what about the afterlife and religion? How does that tie in?
Well, it's funny. There's 2 conversations that I don't like to get into with people because you can lose friends pretty quickly. And one is politics and the other is religion. So let me tread on this carefully. Most people, George, are born into a certain religion, and the chances of them holding on to their faith and their beliefs to the day they die are very high, unless something happens and has them begin questioning their beliefs. And you mentioned Christians, and there's various degrees of them, some who literally follow Christ's words from the Bible, and they practice loving kindness, and they love their enemies. But there are also the others that believe that people who refuse to be born again end up burning with fire and brimstone as an eternal punishment. I know, George, that in the past on Coast to Coast AM, you've interviewed our friends Mark Anthony and Roberta Grimes. Both of them, they're authors, they're attorneys, they're afterlife experts, and they're both biblical scholars. And I've learned from them that the Bible has changed over the last 2,000 years from love to based on fear so that churches could have control over people. Now, the good news is, back to the afterlife, is that most of the major world religions do believe in an afterlife. But is there a way of proving which religion is right and which is wrong? And I don't think personally that we can have a one-size-fits-all religion on the planet. So I offer your listeners this. What if we think of the different religions that we have in the world as different types of lamps? And while they may come in different shapes and sizes, that light remains the same. So our human journeys are all unique. Whatever your religion or spirituality is, my advice would be to follow the things that empower you in your life, throw away the rest, like the fire and the brimstone, and know that when our day comes to cross over, it'll be glorious.
You got it. Thank you, Sandra. I always appreciate you being on the program. One employee was killed at the Montgomery Regional Airport in Alabama after that individual was sucked into the engine of American Airlines plane. Unbelievable. Dozens of people rescued from a ride at Orlando's Icon Park because of a power failure. They were all up there for close to an hour or so. In a moment, Joseph Jacobs, the psychic, joins us. His website, 800, that's the number, 800cself.com. We'll talk about his past predictions and his future predictions for 2023 in a moment. And then later on this hour, we'll take some calls from you on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Joseph Jacobs back with us, who last on with us about a year ago, is an internationally known psychic. He has counseled more than 15,000 people since 1982. He was a pre-production consultant on NBC's The Other Side, hosted his own local cable show. He's been heard on hundreds of radio stations all across America and is a regular guest here on Coast to Coast. Joseph, my friend, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, George, and I wish you and everyone listening a healthy, prosperous, love-filled year. Let's make it a good year.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about some predictions for this year from you. We'll take calls next hour. We'll do some readings for people. Actually, next half hour. We've got 4 special guests tonight, 1 per hour, folks. And then I've got some of your predictions from last year, Joseph. Let me go through a couple of them and tell me what you think, okay?
Okay.
First of all, you said that January will be pretty heavy health-wise, as will October of last year. And I would have to give you a right-on ding for that. I think we did have a rough health time.
Yeah, and it hasn't gone away. You had a guest on after me, a palm reader, who said it would be a dinosaur, but it looks like the dinosaur is constantly changing and growing.
You said there'd be tragedies in March and December. The Ukrainian war with Russia started in February. Pretty darn close.
Right.
Global warming, you said, will continue. And
well, we've had droughts as well as incredible floods, incredible fires, and I'm predicting some earthquakes this year.
All right, and you said China would become more aggressive, and they seem to be, don't they?
Yep.
And you also predicted that we'd have some domestic terrorism. That has not gone away.
Nope, it hasn't.
Now, what do you see for 2023?
Well, a little bit of the same. February, September, and November are going to be the roughest months, where we see health issues and losses during those times. COVID continues. The environment is still a problem. Russia and China, pretty much the same.
Are we going to have a great year, though?
I think we have to make it a good year. You know, each of us.
Do we have that control?
I think we have the control on our families, on our relationships, and they seem to be suffering. I was going to talk about relationships and communication to some extent.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you know, here's a 2-minute history. The major national home entertainment in the first half of the last century was radio, God bless it.
Yes.
People would sit around the room, table, look at each other as they were listening, smiling to each other, commenting to each other. Then came television. Suddenly you had 4 people sitting shoulder to shoulder, possibly a TV dinner in front of them, and not communicating very much. Then you had the computer. Then you had 3 people sitting on the sofa and one in another room. Then came the cell phone. 2 people in their rooms and 1 or 2 people on the sofa. So we've become a little bit more fragmented because of our electronics. And also, you know, the Me Too movement, which was very important, women talking up about how they've been abused by men, has made men a little bit less likely to initiate a relationship or talk to someone, you know, for fear of offending, you know. So there are these relationship issues, and we can talk about relationships when people call up.
Absolutely. And when you do call for Joseph, what he needs is your birth month and day and your age, okay? Your birth month, day, and age. And then ask him a question, and he'll take it away. We'll be doing that at the half this hour. Like I mentioned, we have 4 psychics and astrologers throughout the night. Each one will talk to me for the first half, and then we'll take calls and readings with you on the second half with them. So with Joseph, we'll need your birth month, day, and age when you call in for Tom, and Tom is ready to take your calls anytime you want to start calling to line you up. Joseph, you've been doing this for a long time. Tell everybody who might be brand new to the program about that episode on the beach and that old man that kind of influenced you.
Well, I was going through a kind of spiritual rebirthing, and I lived in Venice for a while, Venice, California. And I was walking along the beach, and I guess the looniest lady I knew there called me over, and I went over, and there was this guy, the big gray beard, long gray hair, sitting there on a blanket, and he's a Brit. So he said, "What's your birthday?" And I said, "January 12th. He said, "No, you're a Tuesday." And he started to rattle off stuff about me that nothing in numerology or astrology had ever told me. And we became friends, and he taught me this card system where every day is a card, and then you can follow a person's life through what they're here to learn, what their abilities are, what gets in their way sometimes. And I'm still amazed at, when I do readings, how, right on the button I am.
Oh, you do a great job. And by the way, you've been with me on almost day one on Coast to Coast. We're going into our 21st season, Joseph. Can you believe that?
Well, even before Coast.
Oh, and you were doing my St. Louis shows.
Right. So it's way over 20 years.
I think we started the St. Louis shows in 1996, so we've been doing it for going on 27 years.
Right.
That's.
And you and I are soulmates in a way.
Yes, we are, my friend. And you've given a lot of people great advice. And
you and Tom are soulmates.
Are we?
Yeah. Yeah. The producer you had in St. Louis was a life mate, a good life mate.
Howard, remember Howard?
Yeah, he was a good life mate, but Tom is a soulmate. Yeah.
Good old Tom. Good old Tom. Anyways, we're going to take calls with Joseph soon. Birth month, day, and age. Ask him a specific question. Why was 22 the year where so many people seemed very upset? As a matter of fact, the poll I saw, Joseph, said only 1 in 3, 33% of the people, thought that 22 was an okay year. The rest thought it was lousy.
Well, there was a lot of separation between people, which is what I'm talking about, communication. And it was difficult to date. The economy started to have problems, and I see problems in the economy for another year and a half. And it might get a little bit better, but it's going to be slow for another year and a half. And there was a lot of tension in the air.
Are you saying we're going to have more of the same this year?
Well, we could if we choose to. We have choices. God has given us free choice, and we can try to make it better. We can be more creative, more outgoing, more listening to other people. It's what you do with what you got,
Joseph's website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. It is right there for you, so go ahead and do it. And people can book special appointments with you through that website, can't they?
Not through the website, but the website will tell them what I offer.
How to do it.
And then if they're interested, they can call me.
Well, you give great readings, Joseph, and you're like a psychologist.
Well, some of it is. I'm not a trained psychologist, of course, but some of it has a lot to do with how your mind works and how your soul works, your inner life, your emotions, and those things which you're here to learn. I see the world as one big schoolhouse, and we come into this life to learn certain lessons, to refine ourselves, to improve ourselves, and make the best of it. And you have people who inherit a great deal of wealth and lose it and don't do anything with it. And then you have people who are, in a struggle of life and yet achieve great things. And so, it's an open book for everyone, and it's a great education that we're going through. And hang in there is what I'm saying.
All right, my friend, stay with us. Joseph Jacobs with us, our special guest this hour. We've got more coming over the next 3 hours here on our New Year's Day special show for you here on Coast to Coast. Next hour, our astrologer Mark Lerner joins us to talk about his thoughts of 2023. And, of course, we'll take calls with Mark as well. So you're part of the program. We'll be back with Joseph Jacobs and his calls in just a moment here on Coast to Coast. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you along with Joseph Jacobs. And we're going to take calls with Joseph as we talk about the year ahead for 2023 and what it means to you. Let's start with our first-time caller, Joseph. Susanna, March 14th, and she's 63 years old. March 14th, 63 years old. Hello, Susanna.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
February 14, did you say?
No, March.
March 14, Joseph.
March 14. You love to help people. And how old are you again?
63.
63. Okay, and you had some changes in a relationship this summer, and we're working on your finances also a good deal, and how you handle cooperative efforts and how you work with other people may be important. January 21st through March 12th. What do you want to ask me?
I want to find out, what do you see in terms of health and finance for 2023 for me?
Well, are you still working? I'm seeing that you're extremely busy.
Actually, no, I just retired.
All right.
But I am busy with my sons and my grandkids. And
you're socializing a great deal, yeah, and they can be very supportive. I think you have a good time to get your finances in order between June 26 and August 16.
Okay.
And I think you're in a very good year for relationships and family also.
And what about health-wise?
That's okay. And you're under good care if any problem arises.
Okay, good luck, Susanna. Hope everything works out for you. Joseph Jacobs with us. Next up is west of the Rockies, Nick, June 3rd. And Nick is 42 years old. Welcome to the program. Hi, Nick.
How you doing?
Good to have you with us. What's your question?
How old, Nick?
He's
42.
He's 42, Joseph. Can't you hear me?
42. I heard you. You're a hard worker, can be a bit secretive, a good researcher. In fact, you have the ability and almost need to dig into spiritual matters as well as scientific matters. A lot of changes, a lot of moves this year, but it looks like it's been particularly constructive the last few months, and I see an important relationship that could blossom between April 12th and June 2nd. What did you want to ask me?
You I just wanted, I called in before. I was involved in a near-fatal motorcycle wreck, and it's been a real tough since June for our family. Together, I'm just curious to see any positive outlooks from that.
Any what?
Any positive, outlooks coming from anything from my accident, anything better coming from that, just to turn for the better in our family, because it's been through a lot with mine. I almost died in a wreck.
Oh my!
It was tough on our family. Yeah, and I. Yeah,
well, you drive a lot, or at least you were, and and you weren't focused. I think little by little things are going to get better for you. You have a lot of work issues coming up, and how you handle the labors that you do in the coming year.
Well, okay.
All right. Good luck, Nick. Hope everything works out for you. And so far, so good for 23 for most people, Joseph.
I think so.
We've got Kathleen next, east of the Rockies. December 24, just had a birthday, and she's 64 years old. Welcome to the program. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, George. Hi, Mr. Jacobs.
Hi, very attractive. Also like travel, very social. And you're 62?
64.
64. All right.
But I look young.
You do, and you will continue to look young. And you make a lot of sacrifices for people. There's a major issue relating to where do I want to put my energies? What work do I want to do? And you need to take care of finances carefully between December 24 and February 15. You are in a wonderful time for focusing on relationships between February 16 and April 8th. You may need to make a decision about people very carefully, April 9 through May 29. And then there may be some change, a move, a new direction.
Good.
Between May 31st and July 21st.
That's wonderful. I'm hoping to move down. Maybe I can inherit a lot of money or win a lottery and move down to South Carolina, Murrells Inlet.
I don't see that, but I do see you making a positive move after May 31st.
Well, thank you kindly.
You're very welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good luck, Kathleen. And you're a pretty straight shooter, Joseph. You tell it the way it is. You don't embellish or hide, do you?
No, I don't.
You never have?
Nope.
Well, good for you.
I tell it like it is.
And next up, we're going to William in New York, June 13th. And he's 85 years old. Welcome to the program. Hi, William. Good to have you with us.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we sure can.
Yeah, I didn't catch the age again.
85, Joseph.
You've been a hard worker all of your life.
Yes, I have.
And you're good at organizing. You're good at handling of finances. And let's see what I see for you.
George, I got something to tell you.
A little bit concerned about finances and what direction you need to go in and whether you can travel or not, make a change or not. Needed to take care of some finances between November 16th and January 7th. And involvement with family is going to be important. A lot of tech work. In March and April can open up doors to you, and you need to be more socially involved before your birthday. You may meet some interesting people.
Yeah, George.
Yes, William.
Listen, I like Art Bell and his archive, but you charge money, and he says it's all free. Why do you? I mean, the guy's dead. You know, it's not right to take a dead man's money.
Oh, we're not taking his money. Trust me, William. It's part of the Coast Insiders membership, so it is free when you're a Coast Insider. We don't charge separate for the other thing. Okay, you got it? So if you're a Coast Insider, you get it free. We don't charge you for that. Next up, we got...
George, I can't tell you how being on Guyam has helped my career. It's been incredible. It was very slow at first, the first couple of years, but over COVID, a lot of people were watching you and calling me. It was wonderful.
And those shows last forever.
That's great.
and they're all over the place, beyond belief, which Tom just mentioned some time ago. Let's take a few more calls, Joseph, and then we're done for the year for you, I hope. Not.
Okay, I hope so, too.
Next up, let's go to... John in Las Vegas, December 22, and he's 59 years old. December 22, 59 years old. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
You're a very outgoing, very social guy with a very analytical mind. And you're 64?
59.
59, Joseph.
Oh,
Joseph,
59. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to age you.
That's all right.
I think it's been a little touchy around the holidays. You've got some a good friendship to work on, February 14th or April 6th, or a family member. I do see an expenditure that you need to be careful of. I think you may have a April 7th through May 28th, or no time to gamble, but I do see some money going out, and handling leases and contracts very carefully, reading them very carefully, May 29th through July 19. What did you want to ask me?
Oh, I was going to ask about relationships.
Well, I think you have an incredible charm, and it's a matter of socializing in the right way, in the right with the right people.
Okay, sounds good to me.
I don't see a problem there. Okay.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, John, good luck to you. Next up, we're going to Jeff in Missouri, August 25th. He's 44 years old, Joseph.
August 25th. Incredibly curious.
Yes. Hey, George, it's Jeff from Ferguson.
Hi, Jeffrey. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, I guess what I want to ask is I'm thinking about getting my degree.
Well, I think you should. I think you're extremely smart. I think this is an important year. Age 44 is a rebirthing year, and focusing on education can be extremely important. And I would definitely go for it.
Yeah, I had to drop out due to health reasons when I originally started back after high school.
No, get back to it, and also I see a lot of relationship issues and socialization and how you handle relationships. But you have a brilliant mind, and you're here to learn, and you're here to share your knowledge, and you're very good at that, and you're good at research.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Jeffrey, thank you, too. We'll take time for a couple more calls for Joseph Jacobs as the clock is ticking. We're going to go to our first-time caller, Carol, in Iowa on December 8th, Joseph. And Carol is a young 80 years old. Hello, Carol.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joseph.
December 8th, you're extremely smart. You're a walking computer.
Wow.
You're constantly gathering information, disseminating information. There's a love of art and music here. You had powerful parents and kind of slow right now. I would take it easy, and I think, maybe get a checkup January 30th through March 22nd. Take care of health at that time. A lot of discussions with people, a lot of research. What did you want to ask me?
Well, I did just have a checkup this last month, my quarterly checkup, and all my numbers and everything were wonderful.
Good for you, Carol.
Excellent. All right, then you've got a very productive year.
I hope so. My question is, will I be able to keep my home financially?
I think you will. And you're also in a very good time to take care of real estate between August 26 and October 16.
All right.
All right. Good luck, Carol. Hope everything works out for you. We'll take at least one more call. We're going to Christina in the state of Washington. Joseph, May 12th is her birth date. She's 54 years old. Hi, Christina. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you very much.
We'll squeeze you in here. Go ahead, Joseph.
Hi. Very concerned with the welfare of other people. And this is going to be a year of new beginnings, new starts. How old are you again?
54.
54? Yeah, I think your involvement with other people is going to be particularly important. And you traveled quite a bit, made many changes this year. And I kind of see you in a very, very social time with other people, focusing on new relationships and old relationships as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
What questions do you have?
Oh, just is this next coming up year going to be a good one for like a move or?
Yeah, you've got a great year coming up.
All right, great. Joseph, we're wrapping things up here. Your website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Do you see an end to the Ukraine-Russian war this year?
I don't.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I don't. And I think what they're doing is amazing. Putin is a psychopath. He's a sociopath.
Something happened to that guy. I mean, I thought he was calm and collected, other than killing off his enemies.
And he's killing children. He's killing his enemies.
Yeah, he's out of control.
He's a psychopath.
He is. All right, Joseph, take care. Enjoy the rest of the year, my friend.
You too. God bless and be well.
That's Joseph Jacobs. Up next, Mark Lerner, the astrologer. We'll take calls with him at the half as well. Tom will get back to those of you still on hold. Astrologer Mark Lerner joins us to talk about 2023. And when we get to the calls with Mark, something a little differently than Joseph Jacobs, we'll need your birth month, day, and the year you were born. We won't need your age. Mark will just go through that. So we'll need the birth month, day, and year. Those of you who are on hold from Joseph Jacobs and did not get on, Tom will get back to you. We'll do a little adjustment with your date and put you on hold so you don't lose your place at all. So we'll be back in a moment with Mark Lerner and talk about 2023 next. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you along with Mark Lerner. Mark graduated from Michigan State University with high honors and a Bachelor of Arts in Social Science in 1972. He completed an intensive one-year training course in professional astrology, and off his career went, hearing how they summoned other dimensions to grow thriving gardens in the barren soils of northern Scotland. Mark joined the Findhorn community back in 1976, settled back in the United States in 1980, eventually publishing Welcome to Planet Earth Journal. His website is linked up at coasttocoastam.com. He's got a new app, which you should download. He'll tell you about that in a second. Mark, welcome to the program. Always good to have you on the show, especially now.
Thank you, George. Great to be with you and the whole Coast to Coast AM audience.
Give us a real brief Astrology 101. Tell us about that.
Well, one thing I wanted to just say at the outset to remind everybody, we are so much more than our sun signs. We have a moon. Everybody's got a moon, and generally you need to look that up. You need to talk to an astrologer, go to my website. You'll be able to, we have all these different reports. As you mentioned, we have the Astrology Cosmic Calendar, calendar with a K, an app. It's free, one day at a time for iPhones, Android phones, and it's pennies a day by subscription. I've been doing the Cosmic Calendar for 41 years now, but we made it into an app. So, but each one of us, our horoscopes are much more than our sun signs, and unfortunately, George, going back to around the 1920s, about 100 years ago, is when the whole sun sign thing started. It's not that sun signs are not who we are in terms of our solar life force, but that's just one component of who we are. And this all started from newspapers wanting to get more people to go to one newspaper rather than another. And so that started this whole thing of people like Sidney Omar, Gene Dixon, Carol Ryder. You may remember some of these names, some of the people who are listening now who are older like myself. This is how we got like the 12 daily sun sign forecasts. But that is not the truth of astrology, which is so much deeper. So we each have a sun, a moon, 8 planets, asteroids, a rising sign, and astrology is a very complex field. So I just wanted to say that, at the beginning.
And you've got a month-by-month breakdown for us on how you think 2023 is going to fare out. Let's start with January. What do you see?
Okay, well, we have an unusual situation, George. The planet Mars has been what we call retrograde since the day before Halloween, and Mars is going to stay retrograde. It's in one sign, Gemini, which is a sign that the planet Mercury rules, and we just had Mercury go into reverse, as often happens 3 times a year, and now Mercury, as well as Mars, is retrograde. Retrogradation is not bad, as a lot of people think, oh my God, Mercury's retrograde. But what it does do is it makes these planets stay a lot longer in certain signs. So right now, Mars is sort of walloping everybody with these energies having to do with communications, the energy grid, electronics, all the travel stuff, what happened with Southwest Airlines, government overreach. And these things are continuing. As many of you know, 2 days from now is when Congress reconvenes, and we have this whole issue of what's going to happen with the Speaker of the House. A lot of contentions there with Kevin McCarthy, whether he'll get the votes. So day by day, January, I'd love to say that January is just like a cakewalk. It's pretty intense, and part of it has to do with Mars not moving, and it's affecting the U.S. birth chart from July 4th of 1776, where our planet Uranus was located. So Mars is sort of a direct hit. It's making everybody a lot more stressed and worried, and hopefully by the third week of January, that's when we get the Chinese Lunar New Year and a new moon in the sign of Aquarius, and there's sort of a turnabout during the last week to 10 days of January. But I want to say one more thing. I'm very concerned about what's happening in China because of this. Again, it's not just the Chinese Lunar New Year. If you remember 3 years ago, when COVID came out, or when they finally reported the end of 2019, and then America and so much of the world got inundated, what happened was that so many people who are either from China or Chinese in different places, they were all traveling because of the Chinese Lunar New Year,
and they were all infected.
And exactly, and now President Xi has, unfortunately, he's sort of seen light here. You can't close down a society as he has for 3 years. We had those student rebellions a couple weeks ago, and now he's basically saying, okay, everybody can fly around, and we'll open everything up, and then we're going to have the Chinese Lunar New Year in 3 weeks. So the astrology gets better at the end of January, but I'm very concerned about international flying and things like that.
Well, we're starting to put travel restrictions on Chinese coming into the country. Maybe that'll help?
Well, yes, but at the same time, it's kind of like what happened a couple years ago with President Trump. There were other countries that were put on this list. Unfortunately, it's almost as if you have to really get really serious about the whole thing of all people coming from all over the world, and it's not just people from China. So that's where I think it's a little bit short-sighted, but I do, it might help a little bit, but I just don't think it can help a whole lot.
What do you see between March 23rd and June 11th?
Oh, boy. Well, many astrologers who work in my field, mundane or Earth astrology, Pluto is beginning its move out of Capricorn, where it's been for a long time, like 15, 20 years, which is the final Earth sign. It's going to peak into Aquarius between March 23rd and June 11th. And we're going to be in this 2-year back and forward cycle of Pluto, which just came back, as I was on the show not so long ago and reported, and other astrologers, Pluto has come back for the first time ever for the United States. This is the planet of the underworld, death and rebirth, transformation, all these mysteries and secrets sort of from the depths of consciousness. So it's part of the reason why the whole country has been in this upheaval, politically, socially, on so many different levels, of course, with COVID and all that. So now all the people who are born approximately January 20th and 21st of any year over this period from March 23rd to June 11th, Pluto is going to be in conjunction with your sun degree, and all the people on the other side of the year, which would be July 23rd, July 24th babies, then Pluto will be making what we call an opposition. So these are for these people, you want to sort of get into psychology and metaphysics and a lot of soulfulness to understand some of the deep-seated changes happening in and around you. But I am very, very concerned with Pluto going to Aquarius. This is a process, George. It's going to take a couple of years for this to happen. What I see is like the autocracy issues, the extremes of wealth, inequality, all these kind of concerns about the economy crashing. It's all part of these buried fears and phobias that Pluto rules over. So Pluto's shift from one sign to another is not ever easy for humanity.
Now, what about, you've got a special message for dates for Coast to Coast listeners about money and healing and love. What's going on there?
Well, we want to stay on the bright side because part of my work, we've just started a magazine in the last several months, GPS Astrology. People can read it free online. It's on my Great Bear Enterprise website, GPS Astrology. So we've had 2 issues, and we're about to come out with another one in a week. And part of that principle, what I'm trying to do, George, after 50 years in this field, is sort of say astrology needs to grow up. And it's not just a question of astrology becoming more scientific, which it's naturally doing through computers and high technology. It's so different than 50 years ago. I had to hand create charts, George, just like all the other astrologers. It took a couple of hours, right, to make a horoscope. But what I want to say is that part of the theme we're bringing up is goodwill and love and kindness. So February 26th, March 1, and March 3, everybody needs to remember these dates, February 26th, March 1, March 3. This is a great time where Venus in Aries, a fire sign, will unite with an asteroid called Vesta, and then the largest planet, Jupiter, and the healing body, the shaman body, Chiron. So that's three significant dates right at the end of February, February 26, March 1, March 3. Very powerful in a positive way for love, money, and healing. And then the weekend of March 11 and 12, the whole thing sort of repeats itself due to more activity with the largest planet, Jupiter. So that brings 5 dates, okay? February 26, March 1, March 3, March 11, and 12, okay? So those are all very strong and very favorable for anybody. It doesn't have to be people born on those dates. It's sort of a free-for-all that's positive for love and healing and money.
And what do you see around March 13th through the 17th?
Okay, so now this is a very interesting time period. You know, the 17th, of course, is St. Patrick's Day, but the 14th, March 14th, has suddenly in the last so many years become Pi Day because it's 3.1415 kind of stuff. And what's odd, and this is really interesting, Einstein was born on March 14, 1879. Stephen Hawking just passed away on the same date, March 14, 5 years ago, 2018. There's something about March 14. I believe there's going to be an increase of psychic sensitivity and visionary abilities all over the planet. Part of this has to do with the Sun and Mercury, which are going to come into an alignment with the Earth. They're going to activate the planet Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is the planet of our dreams, visions, and psychic sensitivity. And I also think that somehow, because it's Pi Day and it's connected to Einstein and Stephen Hawking, scientists will sort of gravitate toward that. We may get some major revelations in that March 13th to 17th time period that could bring about innovations and, technological marvels in the future.
Why is March 20th an important date, Mark?
Okay, this is one of the big times astrologers are going to really have a whole thing for the week after. Well, that March 20th is the equinox. Okay, it begins spring in the northern hemisphere, fall in the southern hemisphere. It's also been recently named International Astrology Day. But what's odd is that the equinox is when the sun goes into Aries, okay, the first sign of the zodiac. However, we're going to get a new moon when the sun and moon are actually going to come together 24 hours later. That's very rare. And also, Venus and an asteroid called Juno, they're going to be in Taurus, so that's another love match, okay? But then we get all these strange upheavals, and that's when Pluto goes into Aquarius, which I just said before. That will be March 23rd. It's only for a temporary time period. And then Mars, the planet that's been sort of hounding us for the last couple of months and is still very powerful in Gemini, Mars will finally leave Gemini and go into the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign. So one other thing, so people need to sort of be on their toes March 20th, March 21, and the several days thereafter. There's Pluto, there's Mars. There are love vibrations coming in, and there's a new moon on the 21st. So it's kind of a whole hullabaloo of energies. Very, very dynamic time, almost like anything goes.
And you haven't said too much about Jupiter. Where's that huge planet fit into the scheme of things?
Okay, well, good news. Okay, want to keep up some of the good news. Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, and I discovered actually it has a slightly different cycle, and I wrote a series of articles about Jupiter's 83-year cycle, by the way. So we're kind of repeating, unfortunately, part of the whole thing with the Ukraine war and everything is that 2022, if you go back 83 years, was 1939. So just one other thing, before I get into the positive thing about Jupiter, we're going to start repeating now 1940. So if you add 83 years to 1940, you get 2023. And 1940 was after World War II had started. There was a kind of phony war in the spring, and then suddenly the Nazis invaded Europe and all these things happened. Now, I'm not saying we have the same thing, but, we're concerned about the winter months here with England and France and Germany, the whole issue of whether Putin is going to create problems with heating and all that stuff. So the winter has just really started. And so I am concerned there's a connection between 1940 and 2023. On the positive level, Jupiter's in Aries, and Jupiter hasn't been in Aries for 12 years. So if you're a sun sign Aries, if you know your chart and you have Aries rising or moon in Aries or planets, then Jupiter is the great providential benefactor force. It's the planet of good fortune. It's the planet of higher hopes and ideals. So that's very good for Jupiter, for people who have sun sign Aries and strong Aries. And then Jupiter goes into Taurus on May the 16th. And that will start a one-year cycle for all sun sign Taurians, the first Earth sign. And if you know your chart, then generally Jupiter is going to be blessing. If you're a sun sign Taurus, watch May 16th, and that starts over a whole year of Jupiter being in the sun sign. Anybody who has strong Taurus, if you know your chart, moon in Taurus, Taurus rising, planets in Taurus, that will help you greatly.
Mark, you've sort of got a high alert warning about what could happen through September 3rd. What's going on there?
Okay, yeah, speaking about the love marriage stuff, Venus, okay, we have currently Mars in reverse, and when Mars does it about every 2 years. The Mercury thing is what creates all this havoc because so many astrologers have gotten on this bandwagon of making Mercury or Hermes, the great name from Greek mythology, the poster boy for kind of retrogradation is bad because Mercury does it 3 times a year for 3 weeks at a time. Well, guess what? Venus will go retrograde the least amount of time of any planet. But when it does that, because it rules love, marriage, money, creative artistry, we're going to have from July 22nd to September 3rd, which is almost exactly 6 weeks, Venus will be in reverse or retrograde. And again, I want to report, retrograding planets are not bad. They are time periods to review, reflect, and reevaluate about whatever the planet is meaning. And Venus has to do with love and marriage. As I said, money matters, what you have in the bank, savings and things like that, as well as your creative, artistic energy. Now, if somebody is thinking, oh, hey, I think I'm going to get married or we're going to do some kind of major relationship thing, and it's between July 22nd and September 3rd, then you have to sort of tune into an astrologer or study astrology and say, well, is this really a good time to go forward? Because if the planet is going in reverse, even though from a heliocentric viewpoint, planets never go backwards, and that's important to know. This is an illusion based on the fact that we're 93 million miles from the sun. And that is astrology, but I just want to repeat, retrograding planets are not bad, but they are sort of an exclamation point, say, hey, look at the issues of that planet. So love, marriage, money matters, creative artistry, July 22nd, September 3rd, reflect and study about those areas of your life. Don't just jump into something and then get burned by it.
We're going to take your calls with Mark Lerner at the half. All we need from you is your birth month, day, and the year you were born, and he'll take it away. Ask him. You want them to ask you a specific question, Mark, or are you just going to run with it?
No, we'll, like we've done before, let's just run with it if possible.
Okay, absolutely. And then you can tell folks what they have. If they have a follow-up to what you've said, we'll do something like that. Then there's an object in the system called chaos, which some are saying is a planet, others are saying it's not. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's a planet. It's not going to look like Jupiter or Saturn. It's not a big planet, but it is. Part of the problem is that astronomers sort of wind up. Whoever discovers a planet gets to name it. Okay, so they named this planet. It was discovered back November 1998. It's been around for 24 years. It has a cycle longer than Pluto. The problem is that where it's currently moving is at the solstice point, okay, of when the sun goes into Cancer, like the time period of June 21st of every year. And what that does, George, for all of us, is it sort of mucks up the start of every season. So partly it's affecting the start of summer when we get to summer, okay, June 21st. And also it will come back and sort of be opposite the sun into what we call the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, which should be December 21. It also comes even earlier on May 27th. So May 27, June 21, December 21, this planet that they've named chaos, I think that's unfortunate. I don't believe the planet has to create chaos, but that's what they named it. And chaos in Greek mythology was sort of the primordial energy of the universe before we sort of began even time and space.
And that could do it to us. Mark, we're going to take a quick break. Next hour, Mystic Elizabeth Joyce joins us to talk about her thoughts on predictions that she made in 22 and how she sees 2023. And, of course, we'll take calls with Joyce. That'll be next hour. We'll be back in a moment with Mark Lerner and take calls with Marks. And what we need from you is your birth month, day, and the year you were born. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with astrologer Mark Lerner. His book is called Welcome to Planet Earth. By the end of this program segment, we'll tell you about the app that he has available for you for your smartphone or your Apple phone or your Android phone as well. Mark, before we take calls, tell us about the solar eclipse and what that has to do with anything.
Okay, well, there's two solar eclipses. One is happening on April 19th and 20th. It's in the southern hemisphere, mostly in the area of Australia, East Timor, that area. However, that is a very powerful date in American history. It's the Battle of Lexington and Concord. There's a lot of events that have happened in this country around April 19th and 20th, and that degree of the zodiac of this particular solar eclipse is the 30th degree of Aries. It's where Mars was located when the Capitol was stormed almost 2 years ago. So I'm very concerned whenever I see an astrology event, sun, moon, which is also a new moon at that solar eclipse coming up this spring. So we just need to be more calm, on guard, country itself, states, schools, malls, and so on, keeping the peace and so on. The other one happens later in the year, October 14th, and that's what's called an annular solar eclipse, which is because the moon is a little bit too further away. It's not total, and that runs from Oregon, where I live, comes through Nevada, and then Utah, and then New Mexico, through Texas, around San Antonio, goes through Mexico, Central America, and so on. The reason I just want to say this really fast, that is the lead-in to a big total solar eclipse that will happen April 8th of 2024. So at some point, if I'm back on the show with you when you have me next, which I would always be grateful for, we can talk about the shift from this year to next year, because there's some big, big doings in 2024 with a major eclipse on April 8th, 2024.
Super. You ready for calls, Mr. Lerner?
Yes.
Here we go. Let's start by going to our wild card line. Dana is with us in Illinois, and let me give you her birth information. July 9, 1979. July 9, 1979. Dana, welcome to the program. Hi.
Hi, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Dana.
And Mark will take it away, and then if you have a follow-up question after he talks to you, go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, well, it's interesting because we're about to put forward our GPS astrology next issue at the full moon coming up in a week on January 6th, and you have your sun being in the sign of Cancer, and the moon will be exactly on top of your sun sign Cancer, and your Cancerians are considered the most psychic sign. Okay, so I want to start with that. And amazingly, you're our first caller, and you're born on the day of a full moon. Maybe you knew that. I don't know, but you're born on the opposite point to where we're just coming out with GPS astrology, our next issue. But I was about to say, and this is important, for any person working on the day of a full moon, there's 13 full moons in a calendar year, and these are times of enlightenment, okay? In the past, people were worried, animals got all, messed up, birds flying, wolves, and so on. So there's a lot of scary things about being born on a full moon. But, Dana, I'm just saying natally, you have an enormous amount of psychic energy. So that's really, really good, and you're very, very sensitive. Now, the big thing is we were talking about Mars, and Mars is exactly returning for you. So I don't know if you're into sports, exercise, those kind of things. You basically need to sort of revamp that whole area of your life. But also Mars and Gemini in your birth chart being rekindled now because Mars just happens to be returning is sort of energizing that whole area of whatever you love to do, your hobbies, your skill sets, your passions are being ignited through the planet Mars.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Nice, short, and sweet, Mr. Lerner. How about that? And why don't you take a moment and tell us about the app?
Oh, Astrology Cosmic Calendar, calendar with a K. We've had it for a couple of years. My daughter Katya created it after 41 years of doing the Cosmic Calendar. Used to be at the centerpiece of Welcome to Planet Earth. You always graciously talk about that magazine I created in the 80s and 90s. So that's the sky cycles. And as I said earlier, each one of us is so much more than our sun signs. We have a sun, we have a moon, there are 8 planets in our chart, 4 main asteroids discovered in the early 1800s, this little planet called Chiron discovered in 1977. So the point is that in the cosmic calendar, I report about the daily sky cycles. And too many people in astrology, George, we have all these reports, and I've been doing thousands of readings. We talk about your transits, your progressions, your chart. But guess what? There's the sky cycles, and that's a whole other thing that we resonate with. And if we forget about tuning into the sky cycles, we miss kind of half of the astrology.
Okay, next up, we're going east of the Rockies. Deb is with us in Pennsylvania. Here's the birth date, Mark.
Yeah.
July 10, 1972. Deb, welcome to the program. Hi there.
Hi, thank you.
You are welcome. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, we went from a July 9 to a July 10, only one day difference. Okay.
Exactly.
And we're getting this Cancerian energy, year of sun sign Cancer, July 10. And this seems like it's almost fixed, George. You're born at a new moon. So the previous caller, Dana, was born at a full moon, and you're born at a new moon. And in your year, that's when it was not just a new moon. You were actually born, believe it or not, at a total solar eclipse. And we were just talking about the eclipses. So this seems as if it's like an extraordinary synchronicity to me. So you are what we'd call a double Cancer, very, very psychic, very, very tuned in. You should be watching your dreams. You could be giving out guidance to other people, and perhaps you've done that a lot. The other thing that's amazing, I brought up about Venus going retrograde this summer for 6 weeks. Well, you were born right after Venus had finished a retrograde cycle in Gemini, the very sign where Mars is located now. And so you also have this big Venusian energy. You don't have Venus retrograde. You have it what we call direct and stationary. So you're like an emissary of love. All those dates I was talking about, love, money, healing, that's a big part of who you are and what you should be doing in your life.
How about a question, Deb? Go ahead. Debbie?
I'm good. Thank you.
You're all right. Very good.
Okay.
Making it simple for you, Mark. We've got...
that's the way, sometimes, all I know, George, is we've done this before several times. I find it pretty astounding that these two callers come in, and they're both born within a day of each other. 7 years apart. One is a full moon, the other one's a new moon. You can't make this up.
No, you can't. Next up, first-time caller Lana's with us in Nevada. January 18, 1947. January 18, 1947. Lana, welcome to the program.
Hi, George. Happy New Year.
You too. Great to have you with us. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, well, great to have you. I know a lot of January 18th people dedicating this issue of GPS astrology. My mom was a sun sign Capricorn. One of my main teachers, Eleanor Bach, a sun sign Capricorn, a dear loved one who has passed away in the last 5 years. And my dad was born with a moon in Capricorn. So you're in a good group of people, at least in my life, because I've been surrounded by many different Capricorn people, particularly Capricorn women. So January 18 of 1947. Now, this is interesting because we've talked about Pluto before in the show, and Pluto has just come back for the United States. It's never happened before. Pluto has a cycle of 246 years. Well, Pluto is now what we call transiting your sun. So this planet, which is the planet of power and will, when it's positive, and in-depth psychological and metaphysical sort of understanding about the mysteries and secrets of your life, the meaning of your life, this is a big part of who you are right now. So it already started for you, Lana, in the last year, but it's continuing this year. So you should definitely, and anybody out there born like January 17, 18, 19, anybody, you should be getting into your chart, ordering some of the reports, a consultation, different things we have. We have classes in the School of Planetary Studies. You also have, like myself, a Sagittarius moon. So the moon sign for you is kind of your instincts, and I believe the moon in people's charts have a lot to do with who you've been in other lives, that we sort of choose a moon. I do believe we choose our lives, that we're souls and spirits, that we come into Earth. So the birth chart is not like, oh, we're stuck with this energy. It's kind of the life pattern that we're trying to utilize. So you have a wonderful moon sign, which is a fire sign, which is goal-oriented, into sports, great adventures, long-distance travel. The big thing for you is you got to deal with this Pluto cycle to sort of go into the depths of yourself, a lot of soul-searching, a lot of affirmation, prayers, that kind of thing, spiritual work to sort of flesh out the mysteries and secrets of your life, the reason why you're here, your deeper life purpose.
Did you have a question, Lana?
You know, I do. I was just wondering if he might see any move in my future in 23, any type of move, physical move.
When you're in a Pluto cycle, this is the kind of thing there's what's called astrocartography. So we have some of those services, like there are reports you can get. In other words, when I look at these kind of dates and so on, I'm not a psychic. I am psychically sensitive, okay, but I've never gone out and said, okay, Mark Lerner, the psychic, okay, because I see the word psyche as mind, okay, whereas psychics are sort of their own field. And, I'm glad that we have great psychics who are very tuned in. So I wouldn't want to say to you on the air, oh, yeah, I see a big move, because moving is also very important. When you move, there's what's called electional astrology, electing a good time to move. It's not just a question of like whether an astrologer feels or sees, oh, yeah, it looks like a move. Then you need to get into when would you do it, how would you do it, where would you move to that would be astrologically auspicious rather than non-auspicious, and that's part of what's called astrolocality. But you should probably email me or stay in touch. Go to the website, and we'll follow up at some point and then see whether or not your chart indicates the possibility that a good move would be in store for you.
All right. Thanks, Lana. Good luck to you. Next up, we're going to Keith in Texas. Feb 1, 1976, 2176. Keith, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Well, you're a February baby. I'm still pulling you up here. Hold on one second.
Feb 1, 1976.
Yeah, you're another new moon person, which is similar to Deb, but you're an Aquarian. Okay, so remember I was talking earlier, we get kind of a breakthrough in the last part of January. Okay, the first part here, the first couple of weeks are a little bit intense for all of us. Mars is hardly moving. It's on top of the United States Uranus, but you're what we call a double Aquarius. So you have the sun and the moon in Aquarius, and that means on the day that you were born, you sort of have this lifetime, which is like planting seeds. Whatever you've done in a last life or previous lives, this is a life where you just sort of want to start all things new. In the spiritual work that I'm part of, we have an aphorism, behold, I make all things new, which is considered the aphorism for a disciple. So just keep aware that every new moon, there's 13 new moons in the calendar year, just like there are 13 full moons. The full moons are kind of times of enlightenment. The new moons are when we start a 30-day sun-moon cycle. So it's not just February 1 every year when you have your sun coming back. You should be aware of new moons and recognize, hey, this is a good time to be a little bit more bold, get things going, and move forward. The other thing is you're like another person. You have Mars and Gemini, so you're also getting this inundation of the Mars energy, which would be exercise, sports, and making sure your communications are not sort of in the direction of either anger or agitation. You want to keep things as calm as possible, but you have excellent skills to be a great communicator if that's what you want to develop.
Did you have a quick question, Keith? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's a possibility of me getting my Social Security disability back maybe this year.
All right, interesting question. Is that a possibility, Mark?
Well, I know how confusing all of that is and how the confusion with the Social Security Administration. So, look, I'm not a psychic from that standpoint, so it would be kind of foolish for me to say yes or no. I think you just have to be – I like to work with logic and do things as practically as possible. So do everything in your power okay, to be able to sort of make that happen, through your communication skills, and I hope that you can do that. You're a forward-moving, progressive person because you're born in the new moon, which is an air sign of Aquarius. So use your mind and your skill sets in order to hopefully make that happen. Each one of us has free will to the extent that we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control our response to what happens to us. So there's destiny and there's that kind of free will that's part of all of our lives. So I hope you can get that disability Social Security for yourself again.
Mark, thank you again for being on the program. Do keep in touch with us, okay?
Will do. Thanks so much, George.
That's astrologer Mark Lerner. Up next, the mystic Elizabeth Joyce joins us. Those of you on hold, Tom will get back to you and just see if you want to stay on for Elizabeth. She's a mystic psychic, and she will be taking your calls later on. And welcome to our New Year's night program. George Norrie back with you. Next up, mystic Elizabeth Joyce joins us. We're going to talk about some of her predictions from last year, what she sees in the year ahead, and we'll take calls later on with you and Joyce next on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Elizabeth Joyce back with us, modern-day mystic, author, master spiritual teacher, and healer. She transmits pure energy from the source. Very popular, gifted speaker on the unknown mysteries, higher realities, and higher wisdom. Many of her accurate successes have been documented through national media. She has also assisted the police, sheriff's departments, and the FBI in finding hundreds of missing people, as well as exposing psychic frauds. A couple of her books include Unlimited Realities, Psychic Attack. Her websites are linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Elizabeth, welcome back and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, George. How are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
I'm good. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it?
Oh, my gosh, it sure has. I wanted to talk about some of your predictions you made back a year ago, because one of them is still pretty uncanny, because you had predicted that Joseph Biden would eventually resign. Hasn't happened yet, but is that still in the cards?
No, I don't think so.
What happened?
Energy. I see him winning the second term. And I think it's because of a division in the Republican Party.
Interesting take. So what do you see for the rest of 2023?
Well, what I'm seeing, and my most concern, is New England, because they're going to have an energy problem.
Uh-oh.
It's a change that's coming that will lessen the natural gas. And we have, unfortunately, made sure that we don't have a supply of natural gas. And the politics up there has stopped the ability for them to pipe gas up from Pennsylvania. They stopped that. So if we run out of natural gas in New England, which of course is where I live, then there could be a terrible freeze and going without electricity for 4 to 5 days. And this has me very, very worried.
What else is out there, Elizabeth?
Well, there's a lot of things. I try to go around the world. The main things that are going to happen in 2023 are the food shortages, the supply shortages, and the weather. The weather will get worse because of global warming, which is not due to people as much as it's due to the deforestation of the Amazon.
You also see some huge solar flares, which we've been talking about for years on this program to protect our power grid.
There has been solar flares, George. I was right about that. We had some real, very strong ones every time we had eclipses this year. It was amazing.
We were lucky they weren't directly aimed at planet Earth, or they could have created one heck of a problem.
That's true, but, the sun rules our weather. And so when you have the solar flares, you know that you're going to have a problem with the weather.
When you get these mystical feelings to come up with these predictions, what is your process? What's happening to you?
Well, each one is different, but I usually see something, or I can hear it, one or the other.
Do you dream about it at all?
Yes, I do. And I really don't like what's going on right now in the country. It's very difficult because I feel like we're losing our country. And there's so much misinformation. However, I do feel that this month a lot of information is going to come forward. And the positive thing is that between mid-March and June, no planets are retrograde, and that is the time for the people to start new businesses and new projects because they will be successful. Jupiter is in Aries, and that's the beginning, the first sign of the zodiac. So it's almost like we're starting again.
Well, everything's been on hold for the last couple of years, so it'd be refreshing if new things start happening, Elizabeth.
That's true. And, of course, there's been a total breakdown of law and order worldwide.
How do you see this situation with Ukraine and Russia?
Well, I don't see it clearing in 2023. I see it clearing in the autumn of 2024, and I don't see anyone winning. I see that both countries will claim they've won.
Yeah.
Putin will run out of money probably, although he's going to be the dictator for a long time in Russia. He's not going anywhere. I know that he has had a cancer. I guess that they've handled that because he is going to be there for a while.
And by being there for a while, is he going to continue these conflicts?
Yes, he will. And the saddest part about it is that it's going to be very difficult for the Ukraine to put everything back together again. There's been so much damage over there.
Oh, my God, absolutely. What about China?
To destroy the company. China is interesting because the leader of China is not well. And, of course, they're not going to tell you that. My son just got back from China. He got out at the last minute, George. We were so thankful. He was over there for 15 years. And they're a communist country, and he got married and had a stepson and was there, and he had to leave to come back to the United States. The family begged us to bring him back here because of the fact that if he had stayed as an American husband to a Chinese woman, her son would have been denied any college, and her brother, they would have put him out of business.
Wow. So he came back. Did she stay, or did she come back too?
She stayed.
Oh, my God. That's not easy on him.
That was very hard.
Absolutely.
I also am concerned about the supply and delivery chain that has broken down. And I just had a warning this week, George, that I want to tell people. China and other countries like to mess around, as you know, with poisons and COVID and this type of thing. And I had a sense that all of the fast food places were going to be very dangerous this year and to be careful because there could be poison in the food.
Oh, geez.
And I think that might be something that we'll be worried about in 2023.
What about the Taiwanese situation in China?
They can't go into Taiwan. Let me tell you why. It's not a matter of going in against the United States. It's a matter of fighting the world. And China knows that Taiwan has good business relations with, like, India and the Middle East because they do all the chips for the computers. So it would be more difficult for China to go into Taiwan than it would be not to.
But you think China
they're going to play with it and they're going to threaten, but they're not going to go in.
You think China, though, may have a problem with India?
I think China and India are going to come to blows, basically because of egos. And China's deal is that they want to take over the world. And they're not going to be able to do so with India. They're still fighting with Brazil. Brazil is the only South American country that isn't ruled somewhat by China.
They've held back. Yeah, they're holding back.
So let's just hope that works out.
Well, so far, Elizabeth, you haven't painted us a glory picture for 2023.
Well, I'll tell you what is good, and that's the technological breakthroughs and the study of medicine and how to do medicine without surgery and what vibration. We're really coming along with learning about vibrations. Everything has a vibration. And if you can get to the point where you can vibrate at a certain level, you can wipe a disease right out of your body.
Oh, that's
and
good
that's what
news.
they're going to be working on. Some people have brought forth machines that can do that, and light work.
You think there's going to be some illnesses with cattle? Tell me about that.
I don't know what they're doing. I know that they're killing all the cattle over in the Netherlands because they don't like the way they fart. And it's so ridiculous because it has nothing to do with the...
It's the methane, right?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with ruining the air. I mean, there are natural animals, and they were put on the earth.
It's ridiculous to even think that,
thought is
isn't it?
more than ridiculous because it's going to take away milk, it's going to take away cheese, it's going to take away their meat, lack of butter. It would change everything.
What about
That's what they're doing? Why are they paying the farmers to do that, to not have their cattle?
That's in the Netherlands?
Yes.
What about the alien presence? We're starting to get some information from government and NASA about the alien presence.
We're going to have more proof. The aliens have been here for centuries.
Of course.
And they really do look over the pond. What we're going to find is some written proof. Now, I don't know whether that's a photograph or a report or whatever. They're mostly, I don't know if you know that they're mostly in the mountains of South America.
There have been a lot of reports out that way.
Yeah, in the Andes. And it's very interesting because they're here to help balance us and serve us. They are part of the reason why I claim there won't be any nuclear explosions again. Because it disrupts the entire universe. It disrupts the solar system. It disrupts the galaxy. And what else is exciting is that the light workers are going to get more and more channeled information that can really be uplifting and helpful to the world through their meditations.
When Elizabeth takes your calls next half hour, we'll need your birth month, day, and year. And she'll need the city you are calling from, which I'll pass that on to her as well. So generally the same information that the previous Mark Lerner astrologer had, and then she'll take it. Now, do you want a direct question, Elizabeth, or are you just going to run with it?
A direct question is fine.
Okay, great. So you can ask her a question after I give her the information about you,
Sure.
But we'll be doing that at the half.
And I did want to say that Donald Trump will not be running on the Republican ticket in 2024.
He's not going to run, or he's not going to win it?
He's not going to run.
So he's
on
going
the
to
Republican ticket.
Well, he's already announced.
He's not. He's going to withdraw, and he'll start to talk about it in the fall of 2023.
Okay, we'll mark that down. That's the wonders of radio. We have this on tape, Elizabeth.
I know. And the two things that I really want to give the message about tonight is Boston and New England, and that Donald Trump will not be running.
Boston and New England. What about Boston?
I told you about the storm and the electricity. Do you know that they have 30% more electrical bills than in other areas of the country?
It's high.
Because of what they've done.
It is high. That's true.
It's ridiculous.
The
housing is going to be the same. It's not going to crash. Everybody says the market is going to crash. It's not going to crash. They say that.
So you don't see a disaster with the financial end in 23?
I see a lot of ups and downs, and I see just as much ability to earn as to not. You have to educate yourself. For example, let's take the electric cars, which are going to be a thing of the future, but they're not going to be a thing of the future until they make the batteries smaller. And they're working on it now. So I think that within 20 years or so, that's going to be the way of the future, the electric car.
But they got a ways to go to get those batteries down
There's
to
a ways to go with oil and gas, too. And how do you make batteries? You use coal. And who makes the batteries? China.
China makes everything, don't they?
Yeah, well, it's getting pretty crazy around here, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, now, one of the problems with the Ukraine war, is the fact that their grain shipments have basically stopped. What's going to happen if this war continues? There's going to be massive global food supply shortages.
That's right, and China's going to try to buy up all the food. But then why are they paying our farmers not to grow grain?
No, they've done that historically.
The answer to that question.
That's one of the crazy policies I just never have understood.
Well, I've never understood why they want to destroy and take away the oil and gas before they have found the solution.
Maybe they did it to keep prices high.
Yes, and gas is going to get higher. It's going to go up to about $9 or $10 a gallon by the end of the year.
Oh, geez. So I'm in St. Louis right now. It's around $3, which isn't too bad.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm down in Boca Raton, and it's $4 something here.
Yeah, and in California, when I left there, it was over $6.
Yeah. It'll go down, and then it'll go up.
Elizabeth's website, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Are your books still available? Unlimited Realities and Psychic Attack?
I'm writing a new one that's going to take some time.
Do you have a title for us yet?
Yes, called Mysteries Revealed.
What was that? Mysteries Revealed?
Mysteries Revealed.
Give us a subject matter. What is it?
The subject matter is space, what happens after we die, why we don't die, vibrations, and how life is continual.
What do you tell people who don't believe in the afterlife, Elizabeth?
They'll find out when they die.
One way or
What
another.
can you tell people? People have a right to choose how they believe. When people say, I don't believe you, or that's not true because I don't believe it, I'll go, well, that's fine. When they say, well, I don't have to store food, I'll go, you don't have to believe me, but prepare. At least prepare.
So you see Joe Biden running again in 24?
I do.
Okay, what about Hillary? Is she going to still try?
I wish she'd get arrested, excuse me.
Elizabeth.
But there's going to be some arrests this month.
Really?
I think that Hillary is pretty much done. I really do.
Well, we're going to record this too.
Well, what would be good would be to have the truth about what some of these people have done.
What would you say your accuracy rate is percentage-wise?
Well, they tell me my accuracy rate is about 98%.
98%?
Yep.
That's astronomical.
Well,
for a psychic.
It's been my whole life. I also am an astrologer, and I put it together.
What do you prefer? Psychic work or astrological work?
I can't divide it. They're both together.
They're both important, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to say...
Astrology is the way your path. It's the way you walk your path. It's what you chose to come into. And I know your other astrologers have said that too.
Is there any...
Your imprint in life. It's your fingerprint, your astrological chart. And then the energy comes in and how you work with the energy. You know, I'm an identical twin.
I didn't know
we
that.
We have the same chart.
Does she dabble in astrology too and
no,
psychic work?
No, she did not. She was a school teacher. But we had the same energy come in. And it was very interesting to watch it.
Is she still with you?
No, she passed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How long ago did she go?
She went in 2013. I'm one of two sets of identical twins.
In your family?
Mm-hmm.
That's unusual.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
That is something else. Well, sorry about your sister.
Thank you.
It's never easy at all. We're going to take a quick break, Elizabeth, and come back and take phone calls. Those of you who are lining up will need your birth month, day, and year you were born, the city you are calling from, and we will go from there with Elizabeth Joyce on Coast to Coast AM. And again, her books are called Unlimited Realities, Psychic Attack, and as she mentioned, she's working on another one too. So we'll be back in a moment on Coast to Coast AM. Next hour, Joy Yascone Elms joins us as we talk about her work, The Power of Divine Timing. She is an astrologer, so get ready for that. And then, of course, we'll take calls in the last half of the program next hour. We'll be back in a moment with Elizabeth Joyce and your calls in just a moment on Coast to Coast. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you, along with our friend Elizabeth Joyce, the Mystic. What do you prefer to be called as a title, Elizabeth?
Just a spiritual counselor.
Spiritual counselor. I like that. I like that indeed.
And that lets me do everything: astrology, helping people, working with relationships, which I like to do.
Well, the calls are lining up for you.
To do, I write meditations.
Let's go west of the Rockies to Roy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and let me give you the birth date. 6/5/53. June 5th, 1953. Roy, welcome to the show, and you're on with Elizabeth Joyce.
Thank you. I guess my two concerns are relationships and finance.
Relationships and finance. What do you see there, Elizabeth?
Well, I see that you've had your number of relationships, and that I don't know. You have a thought of great beginnings, fabulous beginnings, lousy endings. But I do see something new coming along in the early summer. Are you in a relationship now?
Not really, no.
Not really. You're in one, but it's very not attached. And as for money, you're going to be changing and growing with your money and doing something different to bring in more money. And that should start right around April.
All right. Good for you, Roy. Good luck there.
When the opportunity comes, don't say no, Roy.
Take it. Now, are you getting this information from a spirit guide, or how does it come to you?
It comes usually from the other person. You hook up the energy with the other person.
You mean the Roy who just called?
Yes.
Interesting. Next up, we go to our wild card line. Tina's with us. She's calling from Sacramento, California, December 6, 1955. December 6, 1955. Tina, welcome to the show.
Hi, Joyce. Can you hear me?
Yep.
What can I do for you, Tina?
Okay, I'm born 12/6/1955, and
yes. What's your question?
I would like to know what lesson I'm here to learn.
You're a Sagittarian. You're the teacher. You're here to help others open up and learn. And you're here to have your own strength and self-esteem and to trust in your knowledge. So I guess first you're going to learn to trust yourself, and then you're going to spread that out to others. But I see that you're doing a good job with it. You may have had a little roughness this last month, but this next year, when Jupiter moves into Aries, you're going to be very happy.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yes, it is going to be good. So
right.
Good luck to you.
Good luck, Tina. Hope everything works out for you. Will you tell somebody something bad if you see it?
Yes.
So you don't hold back.
I don't. I actually try to tell people that they have to have something checked. You don't give them dire information because then that'll create it. You want to create wellness all the time, George, if you can. So you give people uplifting news like there might be something with your kidneys, go check it. That type of thing.
Do you see car accidents and stuff like that too?
Not too often. I can tell people to watch their driving or to have their brakes checked or something like that.
But primarily you're health related.
One time I was in Chicago with a friend of mine, and she was getting married, and we were walking down the street, and to her maid of honor I said, your husband needs to get to a doctor and have his heart checked. Please do that as soon as you can. Well, he had a blockage and a clot, and it saved his life to go have it checked.
Wow. That is amazing.
That was very powerful.
Next up, we're going to Rob in Hazelhurst, Pennsylvania. 2/21, 1968. Feb 21, 1968. Hey, Rob, welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Hey, George and Elizabeth. Thanks for taking my call.
You are very welcome. And what is your question for Elizabeth?
I'm just wondering who I'm compatible with.
Well, you're on the cusp of Gemini and Cancer. So you're compatible with water signs and air signs for the most part. But I know that the Gemini and Cancer think very differently. So you probably have 4 different ways of relating to people. And you need to learn a little bit of patience with yourself because you can be critical both with yourself and others. I'm sure you're learning that, but as you go along, you'll see relationships getting better.
Now, generally, what's the range of the birth month and day for something like that? People who might not know the signs right away for him.
When they cross, on the 20th of June, you're Gemini. On the 22nd of June, you're Cancer. On the 21st of June, the first 12 hours are Gemini, and the second 12 hours are Cancer.
And these are
so it's called the cusp. And then you have to look at the chart and see what degree the sun is at to know for sure.
Are you saying he will meet these kinds of folks?
No, I'm saying that he's going to meet probably an Aquarian or a Pisces.
Okay, let's go.
He asked who he was compatible with.
All right.
That would be the answer.
Good luck. So there's hope for Rob, you're saying?
Absolutely.
Next up, we go to Jacqueline in Brooklyn, New York. 72365. 72365. Hey, Jacqueline, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Jacqueline.
I have a question about this year for myself. I've had a lot of trouble getting things done and accomplished. I've had a lot of setbacks and a lot of obstacles coming against me, as everyone does. But I'm really trying to get everything done, and I'm having a difficult time. I wonder if things will finally build up momentum-wise for me in accomplishing what I need to.
I think you're going to have a fabulous year, number one, especially after April. But I'll say this to you. You could be having a difficult time on your path because you're really not happy with it or you're really not liking what you're doing in the heart. Where's your heart?
Now, when you ask where's your heart, what do you mean by that?
She said she was getting things done, and I'm asking her if she's doing things that she wants to do.
Like that
No, I'm not doing things that I want to do. I'm doing things that I have to do, that are necessary, that have to be done.
When you decide that you're doing it because you need to do it and that part of you wants to do it, then it'll get easier because what you're doing is you're fighting it. When you do something in resentment, it's always harder. So be careful with that. You can work with meditation and accept that you have to get these things done and do it more with a calmer
I want to get
attitude.
these things done because they'll allow me to go on with what my plans are for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. So love it. Love every aspect of it. How can I do this with love?
Okay.
Ask that question, and you'll calm down, and things will get easier, I promise.
Interesting. Why do star alignments change your life patterns?
Because they're different vibrations. And each of the 4 signs, the 4 main signs, create their own individual vibration. Each planet has a vibration. Each galaxy has a vibration. And you put the planets all together, we have 10, into our solar system, and it creates a vibration. So when you know that, and you can look at a Pisces who has a water vibration, or a Leo who has a fire vibration, it's a totally different personality, and it's a totally different way of approaching life. It's so interesting, George. It really is.
It's fascinating. Next up, let's go to Linda in Bloomington, Illinois. June 30th, 1944. June 30th, 1944. Hello, Linda.
Happy New Year to everybody, you and your whole family there at Coast to Coast.
You too, Linda. Thank you very much. And you have a question for Joyce, Elizabeth Joyce?
Well, one, I had health problems and I almost died. And I stayed around to make everybody mad. And then the second one is, am I going to get to move? I would like to move from where I'm at.
You possibly could have a move at the end of the summer, but first I want to tell you that your health is going to get better and that you have a surprise coming that will enable you to move. And I would like you to sit and think about where you would like to move to and to feel that you've already moved and that you're very happy, and that will help the energy go forward for you. So your prayers are being answered in the spring months, Linda.
In the spring? Well, I know where I want to move to, but it's just getting there.
You'll get there.
Well, thank you, and I hope everyone has a wonderful New Year.
Thanks, Linda. And if you end up moving, let us know. I want to know how accurate Elizabeth has been, because we track all of them. Next up, let's go to Pauline in Cary, North Carolina, 225.50. 225.50. Hello, Pauline. Go ahead.
It's 2:15, 1950.
Ah, 2:15. Okay. All right.
What can I do for you, Pauline?
Hi, Elizabeth. I just wanted to know, excuse me, what the new year may hold for me.
Well, you have some challenges this next year because Saturn is moving into Pisces, and the Pluto is moving into Aquarius. So Pluto is the planet that brings up the past, and it brings up those things that you think you have settled and you may not have. So you have some challenges and some things coming back to you to solve and to put to bed. But I think that you're going to do fine, and I think that you'll surmount them. And I do think that 2024 will be a little bit of a smoother year for you.
Okay.
All right, Pauline.
All growth.
Good luck. Hope everything works out for you. We'll take a few more calls, and that'll be it for Elizabeth Joyce. First-time caller Edward in Kingsport, Tennessee, June 14th, 1980, 6/14/80. Edward, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hello, George. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you guys?
Hi there. Great.
Good. Well, I don't quite know where to start, and it's not necessarily that I have a question for Elizabeth, but
you want her just to tell you a little bit about yourself? Go ahead, Elizabeth. We'll let you start.
George, Ed, you're a Gemini, and so you've had some changes lately, and
very much so.
I feel that you're a little bit confused about what's coming because you may have had some bad luck or something.
I hope that I am confused about what is coming. I hope you were right with that. I really do.
You're going to be fine.
A little over a year ago, I can't not sugarcoat it. A little over a year ago, I seen something standing in front of me that was not supposed to exist. My whole life, I've been told it was not supposed to exist. So that from that very moment, everything changed, and obviously the veil came down as far as what reality actually is.
Did it change for the better or the worse?
Oh well, hopefully for the better. Hopefully for the better.
It's always for the better in the long run, but that long run can be a real challenge.
Well, I mean, it actually involves everyone and everything. So, 2 or 3 months of diving into what I had seen, along that path, I discovered something else. And, whether I was chosen to discover what I did or not, I'm not sure. I've always known I had more, a higher purpose per se. But
sounds like end times prophecy, Edward.
Well, Edward, you're really going to know for sure this year about your gifts and your changes, and it's going to be very positive as soon as you get into April and May.
Do you ever get into that End Times Prophecy, Book of Revelation, Elizabeth?
Oh, the Book of Revelation, of course.
I mean, what do you think of it?
I think that it's fabulous.
Do you think it's accurate?
The Book of Revelation, the Bible?
Yeah.
Of course I do. I think it's accurate, and I think it's repeated itself more than once.
Would you find yourself to be... Do you think your spiritual gifts allow you to do what you do?
I know my spiritual gifts allow me to do what I do, and if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be doing them.
Unlimited Reality, Psychic Attack, those books are still available?
Yes, I've written 10 books, George.
Wow, I only got 2 or 3 on the sheet here.
And the latest one was Backstage. That's my latest one that tells you what goes on with the energies behind the scenes.
Interesting take. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you for being on the program. Good luck to you. Keep in touch with us. Elizabeth Joyce, her websites are all linked up at coasttocoastam.com. Up next, more to come with an astrologer who will talk about the year ahead, and then we'll take your calls as well on Coast to Coast. And welcome back to Coast to Coast. Our very special guest, Joy Yascone Elms. Her works are called The Power of Divine Timing. She's an astrologer, and we'll be talking to her in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Joy Yascone Elms with us is an astrologist that has coached hundreds of clients to success in career, love, marriage, business, utilizing the power of divine timing technique. We'll have her explain that. The power of divine timing is a program that aligns you with the divine timing of the universe to manifest your greatest intentions and desires. And, of course, she was with me back in September of last year. Last year seems like forever, Joy. Welcome back.
Yes, it's so good to be here. Happy New Year.
You too. And how was the rest of your year after we talked in September?
Well, 2022 was great. But it was, it was there was a lot of challenges like in the news and that sort of thing, just because of where the planets are. But 2023 is going to be a lot better for everyone listening, so you can definitely look forward to a better 2023 than a 2022.
We're going to take calls with our incredible listeners, Joy, at the half for you, and all you simply need from them is their birth sign, right?
Yeah. If they have their sun sign or their sign, that's all I need. If they're an Aries, Leo, Virgo, whatever their sign is, and I can give them a lot of information on 2023 and where the blessings are coming in and where the challenges are coming in. And so we always want to nurture the blessings because that's how we create a timeline that we really want to participate in, because, us human beings, we really generally only nurture the challenges because the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Tell us.
So I want to really just emphasize that when you find out your blessing season, to focus on that.
Tell us about the power of the divine timing.
Well, so the power of divine timing came about after, I had several years of challenges in my life, and I had studied astrology for over 20 years, and just trying to understand why there were certain challenges I was going through, because it just kind of seemed like, wow, is the universe just forgetting about me because I'm having strife and challenges in my love life, and then there would be challenges in career. But the thing that I learned is that, and when I first started writing this book, I made it instead of divine challenge season and divine blessing seasons, because there's 12 divine blessing seasons and there's 12 divine challenge seasons. And I created this through just, I feel like the universe is giving me this message that, of course, we're here to learn, life is school, but we all want to have the best, life possible and to create our dreams and goals. And this just teaches you when you're going through a certain divine blessing season and when you're going through a certain divine challenge season. And the book goes 10 years into the future so you can plan, because everyone gets the same opportunity, because the universe is an equal opportunity deliverer of blessings and good fortune and challenges for all. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how much you have humble means. we know that everyone, because we see it on the reality TV shows and everyone goes through challenges and everyone goes through blessings. We all have a season for marriage. We all have a season for career. We all have a season for, understanding and learning and travel. And so knowing those seasons, you can plan and plant the right seeds to create the outcome that you desire. And so that's the power of divine timing.
Joy, and based on this year now, 2023, let's go through the astrological signs, and people can get a general idea of what things will be ahead for them this year, and then we'll get their calls at the half. Let's start with Aries. Tell us about Aries in this year.
Oh, my gosh. Aries is going to be so lucky. I would say luckier than a leprechaun because Jupiter went into Aries December 20th, and it will be in Aries until May 16th. This season is Divine Blessing Season 1, and it's when you become Lady Luck. So, when you're lucky, people can feel this. And, they always like, oh, my gosh, you have this energy of luck and blessings and good. So everyone's going to want Aries in their life because Aries is going to become Jupiter. And so Jupiter is the planet of benevolence. It's the planet of good fortune. And so with Aries becoming Jupiter, you're going to actually you can attract a soulmate, you can attract your career, but you have to plant seeds in the area that you want to see grow. So that's the thing. And then so they're going through Divine Timing Blessing Season 1, Aries, and it's just a wonderful blessing season. It's just when you become who you're intended to be, and that's being your highest version of yourself. So you attract the highest blessings and the highest good fortune. And Saturn, the planet of challenges, which we call Divine Timing Challenge Season 11, since Saturn has been in Aquarius, that is really causing Aries to have maybe some issues with like if they're on a board, maybe having some issues with a board assignment, or if they have friends, maybe a friend moved away, or they've been having challenges meeting new friends if they've moved. But all that's going to change on March 7th when Saturn departs. Aquarius and moves into Pisces. So the great thing about life is that seasons change, and that's why I love the study of astrology and the practice of astrology, because it teaches you that we have divine seasons, and life always changes. So don't think like if you've been stuck and you feel like, oh my gosh, when are things going to change? When are things going to improve? They always will.
Well, there you go, Aries. Now, what about Taurus?
So Taurus, you're really going to have very prophetic dreams. And also people are helping you in higher places, like on the earth, you have people helping you, secret VIPs helping you in secret that you don't even know are on your side and helping you. And you also have, heavenly or beings and angels and your guides all helping you. You're going to go on a wellness journey because Jupiter, the planet of blessings and good fortune, is in your 12th house. So that's a house of also healing. And it's not just fitness or nutrition. This is really a body, spirit, and mind wellness journey. So this is really where you bring into like so many like higher forces. And this is when people go into like a journey of shamanism or, doing sound baths, meditation. You really want to encompass body, spirit, and mind well-being.
Geminis.
So Gemini is going to get a lot more social as they experience Divine Timing Blessing Season 11. So that is just when you meet amazing new friends. It's really welcome, a lot of social activity, because we know with success in love and marriage, as well as in career, it's not just about, and specifically in career, it's not just about what you know, but who you know. So Gemini is going to be blessed with they could have a post that goes viral if they do any content creation. They could join a humanitarian cause where they really are able to make an impact on the planet in a way that they really want to show up in the world. And they should be really the most popular people now, meeting new friends and, having a lot of success with connections.
How about Cancers?
Oh, boy, Cancer's really in for an amazing 2023. So Cancer hit the jackpot with career. They are going through Divine Timing Blessing Season 10. So Divine Timing Blessing Season 10 is when you have Jupiter transiting the 10th house of fame and career status. And that is just an amazing time for all your, dreams to come true. You have to plant seeds. You have to take action. So as Cancers take action towards how they want to show up in this world, as far as career, they can get a promotion. They can start that business they've always dreamt of starting. It's just going to be amazing. And so Cancers just have so much good fortune coming for career and career status, for the promotion. Go for the promotion. Go for the new career that you want to do. It's just going to be magnificent.
Fantastic. For people who are Leos.
Leo, so I want to talk a little bit. I like to focus on the blessings because I feel whatever we nurture grows stronger. So as human beings, we are generally challenge-focused. So we nurture the challenges because it's a squeaky wheel, and we take advantage, and we don't really think about the blessings because the blessings are not a squeaky wheel. They're things that are going well, but whatever we nurture grows stronger. So I want to say for Leo, I'm going to take a second with Leo.
Sure.
Because Leo has had Saturn challenging them from their 7th house of partnership and marriage. Now, let me just give you an example, because we all, as a collective conscious, we know celebrities, right? Because we all know them. So that's what I think makes it so exciting for people, because it's someone we all know in common. So you think about Meghan Markle, right? And some of the royals. A lot of them have this Leo influence on the 1st house. So what's going on with this is that it causes a feeling of isolation. It causes a feeling of, nothing's going right in my world. And if you are a Leo, it gives you issues with relationship with others. So it just makes, that's why, the fabulous four, they call them, they've had so many issues. It's because many of them, from Camilla, Parker Bowles, Queen Consort, to Prince Charles, King Charles now, they, and even Kate Middleton, they all have this Saturn cycle, which is just miserable. It's a very painful cycle. But that cycle is going to end this season, Divine Timing Challenge Season 7, which is the hardest challenge season. And so at this time, you really have to nurture your emotional, spiritual well-being and really have a love for yourself, because a lot of times you just feel so challenged emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's the hardest challenge season. So I just want to, warn Leos about that. They've been going through it for 3 years, but it's going to start to subside on March 7th, 2023. So that's just a big thing for Leo, because that's a hard challenge they've been going through. But they're going to really be blessed with travel and higher education, really focusing on embracing big ideas. So anything with Leo to really subside some of this stress they've been going through is to get away to nice ocean locale, travel. If you've always wanted to go back to school, get that advanced degree, finish the, university degree. If you wanted to relocate overseas, go ahead and do it. Life is short. As you know, even if you live to be 120, it's still short. So go for your dreams and goals. And Leo, just travel, get out of town, travel and enjoy life. And if you've always wanted to go to school, it's really a time of embracing higher ideals as you experience Divine Timing Blessing Season 9.
We're with astrologer Joy Yascone Elms. Her work is called The Power of Divine Timing. We're going to take calls with her in just a few moments. Virgos.
So Virgos are going to be blessed with cha-ching as they experience Divine Timing Blessing Season 8. So this is a really wonderful divine timing blessing season because who doesn't like to have more money? The money that we're talking about, though, is money like through a mortgage or a loan or venture capital, sales. It's really other people's money. It's a house where you finance big dreams. The second house is where we find earned income, what we earn. Where this is a house of like inheritances, taxes, benefits from taxes, benefits from the stock market. If Virgos have wanted to get like an 800 credit score, it's a great time with this divine blessing season 8 to start working on your credit. It's a great time where you can get an 800 credit score if you just put, attention to that. It's a great time to finance big dreams and, to have just exciting blessings and finance. It's a really exciting time for Virgo if anybody likes money.
How about Libras?
Libras, this is one of my most favorite divine blessing seasons. So Libra represents marriage for the entire zodiac, ruled by Venus. So the great thing for Libra is they're going through divine timing blessing season 7 as Jupiter, the planet of blessings and good fortune, transits their 7th house of marriage. So the types of partners that will be attracted to Libra, if you're a single Libra and you've wanted to get married or engaged, and I don't know one Libra I've ever met that didn't want that because Libra actually rules the house of marriage for the entire zodiac. Right now is the best time in the past 12 years, to meet your soulmate and get married and have engagement. Also, a business partnership will be very fruitful for you, Libra. So that's just a wonderful thing.
Scorpios
it's time to get buff. Scorpios have blessings in their house of fitness, also work. So if Scorpio, if you've wanted to get a new job, that can happen for you now. You have this blessing season from now, which started December 20th until May 16th, 2023. And then at that time, the planet of blessings and good fortune is going to move into your house of marriage and partnership. So it's almost like the universe is helping you to get all fit, and have these daily routines that you enjoy and get into a work life that you enjoy. And then marriage is going to come to you. So this is why I even see Leonardo DiCaprio getting engaged, the ultimate bachelor, that he'll be getting married or into a very serious relationship next year, next year.
Sagittarius.
So Sagittarius, the great thing is that you're going through divine timing blessing season 5. Now, this is when life becomes more fun. There's romance, there's creative projects, and not only creative projects. So if you work in a creative field, that's going to be really fruitful. And if you've wanted to have children, this is a great time to expect news from the stork where you can, produce not only children, or that maybe if you have children, they'll do very well. So you're just this divine protection for your children. And it's also just a great time for more fun, romance, and love in a current relationship. Or if you want a new relationship, this can bring that. It's not the seriousness of the commitment that Libra's going through right now with Divine Blessing Season 7. But this is where you just start to have that fun and love. And then in 2 years, Sagittarius will have this blessing season that Libra's going through of a commitment and marriage.
Capricorn
is really going through a time of stability because the planet of blessings and good fortune in 2023 and first 5 months of 2023 is going to be in Capricorn's 4th house. So that is the house of just stability, your home, your family. So home and family, real estate. So if Capricorn's wanted to get a new home, if Capricorn has wanted to get an investment property, anything property-wise will be blessed, as well as if you've wanted to do renovations on your current home. that will be blessed. If you just wanted a new apartment, you live in New York, and it's so hard to find an apartment in New York. I've lived there, and they go like the second they go up. But if you wanted like an amazing apartment, you'll find one. You'll find one with lots of light. It's just going to be beautiful. So this is just a really wonderful time for Capricorn. And this is also stability. So however stability is expressed for you, whether that's living with your partner or whatever, if you have someone that you wanted to live with, this is the time that would happen. So it's just a great time of stability. And whatever you need for stability, the fourth house is that. And this is Divine Timing Blessing Season 4.
Super. We're going to come back and talk about Aquarius and Pisces and then take calls next on Coast to Coast AM. On our next Coast to Coast program, Harry Dent joins us for the first couple hours talking about the financial world. Is there a bubble coming? And then Pat Spain joins us about cryptozoology and creatures. So make sure you're part of the program on Coast to Coast. And welcome back to Coast, back with our final segment with Joy Yascone Elms, the astrologer, and we'll take your calls in a second. Let's finish up on the zodiac signs Aquarius.
Yeah, so Aquarius, we call this in my book The Power of Divine Timing. Divine Timing Blessing Season 3. And this is a really fabulous season because we all know that communication is the key to success. So if communication is the key, Aquarius has the key. You will be blessed in negotiation. You'll be blessed with contracts for goals that you have. So maybe it's a new contract job or a new contract for something you really want to manifest. Also, you'll be able to communicate to heal any relationships that you want to heal. You'll have the gift of communication. If you are a songwriter or you write journalistically or you write in any way, your gift of not only gab, but your gift of writing is going to be very, very strong. So you'll be able to write and be very successful with creative writing. Whatever you do writing-wise is going to be supremely blessed. Also, if you want to heal a sibling relationship, that can be really great now. A lot of people heal sibling relationships during this Divine Timing Blessing season. And so it's just a really wonderful time for Aquarius.
And then Pisces.
Pisces, so the wonderful thing for Pisces is they're going through the other cha-ching money blessing season. And we call this in my book The Power of Divine Timing. We call this Divine Timing Blessing Season 2. And so, George, Divine Timing Blessing Season 2 for Pisces is when you are blessed in the way you earn an income. So if you've had any kind of issues with work or the way you make money, things will start to be easier for you. The people causing issues may leave. Or, for instance, you may leave yourself and just start making money in a way that you enjoy. But you will make money joyfully, and you will make more money than you've probably made in the last 12 years.
Let's go to the phones, and I'll give you the information you need. Do you want a question from them at all, Joel?
If they have a question, that would be great. And if they don't, I'll just give them a reading.
Okay, very good. Let's start by going to Christina in Ohio, who happens to be a Taurus. Christina, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi there. Do you have a question, or you just want Joy to jump in?
I want to know what's ahead for me in 2023 and with my husband.
Oh, great. What sign is your husband?
Pardon me?
What sign is your husband, Christina?
Scorpion.
Scorpion. So we got a Taurus and a Scorpion.
Wow, things are going to be really blessed for you, Christina, as a Taurus. Let me just talk about what's going on with you now. Then we're going to talk about the second half of 2023. So for the first half of 2023, you're going to be on this spiritual journey, and you are going to be going through an awakening. Anything like I heard about that trip in Arizona, that would be really good for you. Anything that is spiritually focused, body, spirit, and mind, is enriching you towards your future. So this is just a time of preparation between now and May 16th, the planet of blessings and good fortunes in your 12th house, okay? So this is a spiritual journey. It's sound bath, shamanism, meditation, yoga, qigong, all of that. And this is really going to center you, and you're going to have prophetic dreams and that sort of thing. But then when we get to After May 16th, the planet of blessings and good fortune is going to move into your sign, and you're going to experience divine timing blessing season 1. Now, what this is also going to do is put the planet of blessings in your husband's sign of marriage and partnership. So this is just going to be a really good time for you guys next year. This year, because we're in 2023 now. I keep saying next year in 2022, but we're here. So this year, especially the second half, you're going to be very marriage focused. You may take on a new adventure together. It's just going to, and everyone's just going to want to marry you. That's so basically when you have this transit, everyone wants to marry you. And so what that means is it's partnerships. Everyone wants to partner with you. Everyone, sees you and the blessing that you are as far as partnership and marriage. So if there's been any issues, things should start to heal, and you want to nurture the blessings there. And for you, Taurus, Saturn, the planet of challenges, has given you the experience a divine timing challenge season 10. So career has been challenging. You've maybe taken a step up, but with the challenges there, focus less on career, more on your spiritual journey, and then on your marriage and taking on a new adventure together. Things will look really great.
Thank you, Christina. Good luck to you. Let's go next to Costa Mesa, California. David's with us. He's a Libra. Welcome to the program. Hi, Dave.
Hello. Thank you for taking the call.
Good to get you in. Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, so David, you are going through, like I said, one of my favorite divine timing blessing seasons right now, and that is divine timing blessing season 7. So this is just blessings right now, because Scorpio is going to go through that after May, but you're going through this right now, which is between now, December 20th it started, and this will last until May 16th. 2023 only happens once every 12 years. You have Jupiter transiting your house of marriage and partnership. So if you are in a relationship, things will start to just, if you need any kind of healing there, it'll be there. If you're wanting to find love, this is the best time to find a serious committed partner in over 12 years. And then in May, after May 16th, you're going to experience Divine Timing Blessing Season 8, which is money, money, money. So it's the whole season of other people's money, which is like loans, mortgages. You could win money. I mean, it's just a really financial time. Inheritances, if there's any tax issues, they'll be smoothed out. Just anything, just so much money coming into you for higher blessings and for what you want to manifest in the world, Libra.
Wow, those hit it right on the nose.
She's good, David. Thank you, sir. Good to have you with us. Next up, we go to Susan in Roseville, California. Susan is an Aries. Hello, Suze.
Hi. Yeah, I'd like to know what you see for me this year.
Well, Susan, you've called in at the right time, and you were lucky because that's even like your luck is already shining through because you got through.
That's true.
The great thing, yes, you're going to be very lucky. You become Lady Luck in 2023. So the wind's going to be at your back. The rose rising up to meet you. It's the Irish blessing, and you have it. So you really want, this only happens once every 12 years. And this is why I want people to be focused on their blessings, which is what we teach in the Power Divine Timing book, is that you want to focus on your blessings. Your blessings is that you're it. You become Jupiter. You are benevolent. You want to be your highest version of yourself because it's going to attract all the good that's coming to you. And people can feel that you're lucky. So everyone's going to want you in their life. You've got to make the right choices as to what you want to manifest this year because you are Lady Luck. So you can point that luck in any direction, towards a soulmate, towards your career, what you want to manifest, but you have to take action.
All right. Thanks, Susan. Joy, it sounds like most people are going to have a pretty good 2023.
Yeah, 2023 is an amazing year. There's so many blessings coming in. You know, when we have Jupiter in Aries, Aries is a fiery energy of let's make it happen. It is Sparta 300. It's that energy of we shall conquer. So it's really forceful. It moves fast. And it's the warrior, and it's saying, I'm going to fight for you to achieve what you want and what you desire. And there's always a challenge, too, that we want to focus on the blessings. And in my book, The Power of Divine Timing, we talk about the challenge seasons, and we talk about the 12 divine blessing seasons and the power of divine timing. But we want to focus on the blessings because we always starve our blessings so much. So our blessings are being starved while our challenges are being overfed.
Let's go to Keith, Cleveland, Ohio. He's a Gemini. Welcome to the program. Hi, Keith.
Hello. Thank you. Happy New Year.
You too, you're always chipper. I love your attitude.
Thank you, George. Yes, and Drew, thank you. I just wanted to get a general reading because 22 wasn't great, but now that we're in the new year, Happy New Year, hopefully something great.
All right. Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, so things are going. 2022 had some painful issues and a lot of stressors, and 2023 is going to be much better. One, the planet of blessings and good fortune was asleep for the last 6 months, and Jupiter woke up on November 23rd on the new moon in Sagittarius. So for you, Gemini, life is going to get more social for you first, right? So. And your life, it's really, like I said, that whole thing about it's not just what you know, but who you know. So you want to get out and about. Friends are going to be your biggest blessing this year. And so if you want love in your life, ask your friend for an introduction. You can also try, are you single?
Keith?
Hello?
Yes, I am.
Single or married? Okay, you're single. So do you want love in your life?
Always.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So the way you
who has anybody ever said no, Joy?
It's very rare. On occasion, when someone's had a heartbreak, sometimes they're focusing on that challenge and they say no. I've already done with that. Like I had a woman that I was reading in the grocery store because sometimes that just happens to me. We're at Trader Joe's, and she just came up to me and started telling me about her life. And so I said, well, love's coming in for you next year. She's like, I don't want love. And I was like, oh, that's very rare. That just happened because she was just in a challenge mindset. But she will find love, and you will too. So I'm just going to say your love is going to come in through friendship. Ask friends for introduction. Also, because the internet and social media is ruled by this house where you have Jupiter, and this is divine timing blessing season 11. You could do online dating. Just always be smart and careful. But at least if someone's online. Generally, particularly women are looking for a long-term commitment, and so or just make sure you state what you want. Whether and generally, men too are wanting that as well. If they, not always, but just make sure if you want long-term commitment that you're expressing that. So social media is going to be big for you, friendship, and then we're going to go into it. The planet of blessings and good fortune sending you on that spiritual journey, and then you're going to become Lady Luck after that. So things are going to get much better for you.
Joy, first of all, where do people get your book, The Power of Divine Timing?
Yes, so the book, The Power of Divine Timing, they can get it on Amazon. They can also get it, and if you want to get the blue version, the yellow one is from 2019. That's the older version. So if you want, this one goes 10-plus years into the future with the Divine Timing blessing seasons and challenge seasons. So this goes 10 years in the future. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Kindle. And if you sign up for Kindle Unlimited, you can get the book for free.
And we've got your website linked up at coasttocoastam.com. I've got thepowerofdivinetiming.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that is my website, or you can just go directly to Amazon and get it. You can also sign up for my newsletter.
Now, can people make appointments with you through your website?
Yes. So if you'd like to get in contact with me, there's a contact us form there. And you can just contact me, fill out the contact form, and I will email you right back. I'm really good about getting back to people within 24 hours. So you can just email me there, and I'll get that, and then we can set up the time. I do have some limited times available for sessions, and I do astrological coaching. So you can, and we call it the Power Divine Timing Coaching, so you can know what is coming up for you, and you can plan and nurture the right source of energy to manifest the results you want in life.
If 22 was a 4 on a scale of 10 for the year, What do you think 23 will be?
Oh, I think 23 is going to be a 10.
Excellent.
23 is going to be I feel like 2022 was more like a 4 or 5.
That's the way to do it. Joy, thanks for being on the program. Keep in touch with us, all right?
Okay, and have a wonderful, wonderful New Year. Always wonderful talking to you, George. I had a great time.
You too. Next time you get another book ready, just let us know, and we'll get you back on the program. For Michael Cosio, Tom Danheiser, Dan Galante, Lisa Lyon, Lex Lonehood, Sean Ladouceur, Stephanie Smith, Chris Burrows, Ian Punnett, and George Knapp, I'm George Norrie, somewhere out there on Coast to Coast AM. We'll see you on our next edition. Until then, be safe, everyone.